Hello everyone, and welcome to the long-awaited review for the latest installment of the legendary Monsterverse. It is Godzilla versus Kong, the rematch of the century, a rematch. What was it, like 70 years in the making? Not 70, fucking like 50, 60 years in the making. I am your host, Andres Perez, aka Kaiju Noir. Here with me are my two co-hosts, one being the original, the oldest member of the Sons of Serizawa, who is currently present today. It is David Joshua Hernandez, aka Gorizard.
That's right, we wheeled him out of the nursing home just for this video.
Yeah, well, and I'm not going to name names, but someone pulled the catheter. How do you pronounce that fucking thing?
A catheter?
Someone pulled that out.
That sounds unpleasant.
And then there's no going back now. And the other individual who you just heard is my co-host of the fully endorsed podcast, Mr. Dillion McCandless, aka Super DM 64.
Hi, everybody.
So, yes, we are here. Originally, we were supposed to have Bill on, but unfortunately, he backed out the last second. Thanks a lot, Zazabar. But
Please direct all your angry emails to...
Oh, that is a name I have not heard for a long time, Zazabar.
It's a name I've not heard since...
It's like, we need Zazabar. The world needs him. So...
Do they?
We're going to find him in the desert. We're going to be like, have you ever heard of Zazabar? And he's like, of course I know him. He's me.
I know of Bill Zazabar Kenobi.
He just smells of weed. That's what scares the stand people.
That's what he's doing. He's just smoking the ganja. That's why we haven't heard from him in so long.
The ganja? Specifically ganja. Specifically yes. That variant of the creature.
I figure it's got to be something very strong, potent, to keep him from the internet.
Sure.
But anyways, yes, we are here. We never thought this day would come, but eventually, after like a good 2 years of waiting, we finally have Godzilla vs. Kong. For a good long while, we had next to nothing in terms of information or promo material. And then once that initial trailer came out, then all hell broke loose. We got poster after shitty poster after shitty poster after shitty poster, crappy Playmates toys after another Playmates toy after another Playmates toy. And then presto, what do you know? HBO Max comes along and has delivered us the movie that many fans have been waiting for. And for those lucky enough to have been able to catch it in the theater, they were able to do just that. And so pretty much everyone, every Godzilla fan has been voicing their opinions on the movie. And so we're going to do just that. To borrow, to rephrase a line from MST3K, every year, hundreds of podcasts are recorded. This is one of them. So, what were your guys's, I guess, expectations or thoughts prior to going into the movie?
I expected pretty much exactly what we got, to be honest with you. Given what the last two movies in this universe have been, and given the trailer, I think this movie was exactly what they sold us. You know, you cannot... one thing that you can kind of be mad at 2014 and KOTM for doing is like kind of false advertising, kind of selling you on a movie that isn't actually what you got. You can't accuse this fucking movie of doing that, because this is exactly the movie that we were advertised.
That is very true. Yeah, all action, very little in terms of plot and characters. It really just shows you everything that the movie's got to offer in that trailer alone, and I definitely agree there. Whereas the other two movies tend to try to advertise 2014 and King of the Monsters as like this very thematically rich, deep, like Oscar contender type of movie, when really like 2014 was sort of like half and half, where it's like it kind of had a bit of an identity crisis where it tried to be a realistic depiction of a disaster movie, and on the other hand tries to be a monster movie and also tries to be like somewhat of a family drama, a sci-fi thriller and family drama. Then King of the Monsters, it was kind of like just sort of one of those like turn your brain off type of big budget action schlock fests.
Was it?
I don't know. I feel so. Like I feel like a lot of a DNA in King of the Monsters is present here in Godzilla vs. Kong.
I think this movie is much closer to Kong Skull Island, not only in terms of quality, but like tone and everything else.
Yeah, I agree with there because what I was going to say is that I came up with this earlier, surprisingly. Mm-hmm. Here's how I would describe King of the Monsters, and here's my main issue with that film: is that it's a film that wants you to turn off your brain and then demands you to turn it back on to digest its quote-unquote thematic complex themes, and then turn your brain back off and then turn it back on, and it's just jarring and nauseating, and that's one of the things I hate about the film.
I agree there. Where King of the Monsters, it tries to be just nothing but pure spectacle, but also it tries to have a message, but kind of falls on its face doing so.
Right, like it's trying to juggle being both a B-movie creature feature and I guess one of the thematic Godzilla films like 54 or
like it tries to be one of those Godzilla movies that's about something but doesn't quite know how to do it,
like the original King Kong vs. Godzilla.
King Kong Godzilla was a bit of a commentary on the state of television and corporations vying for people's attention. Go ahead.
What I meant with the original is that you guys remember that scene that comes on at the very end where Hakahiko Harada is like, we must learn to adapt them like them. That is all. Then he just walks away.
That is true.
I feel like that entire sequence kind of like parallels King of the Monsters, except it's more spread out in that film in King of the Monsters.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
Or Megalon, because that film ends on a similar note.
Right, yeah, Megalon tried to be very anti-nuclear war testing, but then it kind of doesn't really say anything about it after once they've established the villain's motivations.
That's my favorite trope in Godzilla movies, though, when there's like no message until the last second of the movie. Then they just like throw one in there. Well, I guess the real Godzilla was the friends we made along the way. And then they roll the credits.
And I would say...
At least they didn't do that shit in this movie.
No. I would say this movie... Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like I feel like this movie in particular makes zero attempt at having any sort of thematic or any sort of like a thematic thread to.
Well,
go ahead.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's entirely true. We get a little like, Frankensteinian sort of hubris of man type stuff with Mechagodzilla. I was talking to you. This movie in a weird way, like message wise, is kind of the anti Pacific Rim. Where in Pacific Rim, it's like we're gonna build giant robots to fight the kaiju, and it's gonna be awesome. And this movie's like we built a giant robot to fight the kaiju. Has science gone too far?
Right. Only because at that point in Pacific Rim they brought the fight to us.
Right.
Let's see. I guess for me personally, going into Godzilla vs. Kong, I tried to go into it with like zero expectations, having experienced Godzilla 2014 and King of the Monsters. So like again, I try to go into it knowing that this movie is most likely just going to be one big giant spectacle and to enjoy it as such. And yeah, I guess I went into it and I experienced it. And yeah, like Dylan said, I pretty much got what the trailer offered. So this movie didn't really offer a whole lot of surprises at all, really. It kind of was like you go in expecting big monkey to fight spicy lizard, and you got just that.
Spicy. And spicy.
Oh yeah, because he's got that that's the spicy breath. He's got that flame. He's been eating his flaming hot Cheetos, and he's got that the bad breath.
My God, why the '90s never made a claymation Godzilla commercial for spicy hot Cheetos? We've just we're geniuses, Andres. Another great.
Yeah. Well, why deal with Snickers when you can go with Flamin' Hot Cheetos? Come on, Legendary, Get your act together.
Why are we playing basketball against Charles Barkley? That doesn't make sense.
Right. So what were your guys' like initial thoughts coming out of the movie? Well, first off, I am curious to know how did you two experience the movie? Because I experienced it twice through two groups of friends through HBO Max on my PC.
I think me and Dylan both saw it in theaters, right?
I went to the theater day one, first showing I could get into, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, fucking matinee, and it breaks my heart that people like you, Andres, you dirty heathen, are...
I have to wait until fucking May to watch it in a theater.
Dirty Mexican heathen.
It breaks my heart that people are watching this movie on their couch, or as a certain film director would say, on their fucking phone, because this is the very definition of a movie that needs the largest screen and the biggest speakers possible. I don't know if you could tell, like, watching it through HBO Max through a friend's account, Andres, but the sound in this movie was really good. And I'm not usually the kind of person who notices like sound design shit. Like, I'm not really into that whole like technical aspect of the filmmaking, but like I'm sitting in the theater and I was like, this sound is great. Like, you're hearing shit like whiz around you, and like it's fucking... This is a blockbuster movie that needs to be seen on a big screen. If anybody's listening to this review and you've only watched it on HBO Max, go give it a shot in theater, because even if it doesn't change your opinion of the movie, you will experience the scale in a way that you just can't.
You will hear sounds and see colors never previously thought unimaginable.
Right. Wear your masks. Be socially distant. Whatever you got to do. And run, don't walk to your local theater, because this kind of thing may never come around again.
True, yeah. We may have to wait like another 50 years for these two characters to cross over.
Then again, this movie's making fucking like money, like it's not,
yeah.
Like it's the highest grossing movie of the pandemic. I mean, it's not doing numbers that like it would be doing in a pre-pandemic world, but it's doing like the best that any movie has done recently.
Yeah, apparently it's been the most profitable movie since Sonic the Hedgehog, and that's saying something.
Chris Nolan must be pissed because it's about to catch up to Tenet's worldwide gross.
Right. Christopher Nolan must be like steaming right now. It's like, what the fuck? You guys went to see that stupid piece of shit, but not my artistic genius that is Tenet?
I would fucking shit my pants with happiness if it beat Avatar.
Oh, Jesus Christ. No. That's like a pie in the sky dream right there.
Because Avatar is now the highest grossing movie again for the third fucking... You know, it doesn't count. You keep re-releasing it.
Yeah, that's weird. How does that fucking count? It's a re-release.
They still factor it into the overall gross, and it's like, you sounds a bit like...
Goddamn Hollywood analytics.
But then again,
the movie wasn't even good the first time it came out. Like, stop it.
Nobody cares about Avatar. Let's get the Chinese, apparently.
I don't want to watch your 50 sequels, James Cameron. I don't give a shit.
Go back to doing Alita Battle Angel like you originally planned.
Yeah, whatever happened to that?
He passed it along to his buddy Robert Rodriguez.
That was supposedly good. I still haven't seen that movie.
He gave it to his token Mexican. He gave a Mexican a job.
I guess that's what I do in these situations.
I mean, that's what Bill did, essentially, leaving me in charge.
I mean, that's what I did with Fully Endorsed. I was like, Andres, I got a pitch for you. And you'll run it, but it's...
And you do all the work.
But I think it's a good idea.
Yeah. Yeah, you're definitely right about the theater being an entirely different experience from watching the movie at home, whether on your TV or on your PC screen, computer screen. For me, that was the experience I had watching Godzilla King of the Monsters. When I saw King of the Monsters, I was like blown away by the action, by the visuals that I saw on screen. Everything from the music, what's the composer's name? Bear McCreary.
Bear McCreary.
Yeah. His compositions, seeing the action, the monsters, just like everything came together to provide a wonderfully captivating action extravaganza. And then as soon as I saw the movie on Blu-ray at home when I was visiting my family back in California, the movie was significantly less enticing. And the action being on such a smaller venue wasn't as captivating as it was on the big screen. And so for me, King of the Monsters was one of those movies that like I enjoy less and less each time I watch. It's one of those movies I personally feel it's one of those movies that doesn't hold up. It's fun the first time, but it's one of those movies that doesn't hold up on repeat viewings, especially again when you factor in the change in venue. And the feeling
that stop watching it, Andre.
Well, that's the thing. It's like there are those movies that are timeless. There are those movies that I can go back to again and again and enjoy it more and more because there's always something new to discover with every viewing. And then there are just those kind of movies that you watch and you're like, okay, I enjoyed it for what it was, but I don't think I'll be revisiting it anytime soon. And I feel like King of the Monsters and in this case, Godzilla vs. Kong is one of those cases, unfortunately, for me, where it's like, I saw it, I enjoy it, and that's all I need. I got what I need. I got what I needed out of it.
Yeah, all you need is the air that you breathe.
Well, that's true. I mean, technically, we don't need movies for technical
God
speaking.
damn it, that's the song that plays at the end of the fucking movie.
Oh.
Yeah, he was referencing the song at the end of the movie. So we rewatched the movie just today, Andres. I don't know that.
And I saw it twice.
Thanks to Andres' stomach, I was able to actually finish the whole movie before we started.
So, by the way, the first song that we hear in the movie, where was it like Over the Mountain, A Girl Is Waiting for Me? It's like, yes. I see what you're trying to do there, but it's kind of weird that it's implying that the little girl, the Iwi girl, is like a girl is waiting for me. It's like it gives some very uncomfortable sexual overtones there.
I don't know
where does your mind go?
It's not my fault. It's the song they chose.
It's that dark web porn you've been watching.
You know what? Honestly, they were better off just putting "Somebody Once Told Me," because that's essentially the same. It starts the same way as Shrek, if you think about it.
Yeah, I never knew that I needed to see Kong scratch his ass, but when it happened,
Kong stretches, he scratches his ass, he takes a shower in the dirty water. It's Shrek.
Oh. You just gave the memers an idea.
Well, the years stop coming and they don't stop coming.
And they don't stop coming and they don't stop coming and they don't stop coming and they don't stop coming.
Yeah. So I guess where to even begin with this movie?
Where would you guys rank this movie in the Monsterverse? See, personally, I think this is my second favorite one.
Yeah, me too.
Like, I think Kong Skull Island is definitely a better movie.
Yes. But
this is the one that I'll probably throw on if I just want to watch some really cool fights. You know what I mean? So it's number 2 because, 2014, God, the more the years go on, the less able I am to watch that fucking movie because the second act it's dreadfully boring.
Right.
It's like one of the worst second act slumps I've ever seen, and that's a problem in a lot of kaiju movies, honestly, because you introduce the kaiju early on in the movie, and then you have the big thing that they do at the end of the movie, and then the middle of the movie is usually just a bunch of people running around spouting bad exposition and doing stuff. But it's like, I don't know, 2014. There's some kind of a weird pacing issue with that movie where it feels like 2 or 3 times longer than it actually is. Especially when you're on the fucking the train, like the bridge or whatever. Like it's like how far are we from fucking LA or San Francisco or whatever, wherever the fuck.
I definitely agree there.
And then King of the Monsters, I enjoy that movie more than you two do, but it's not it's like probably third, I would say, behind this and Kong.
Yeah, I would say Kong is definitely up there, and I would say maybe. Let's see. I feel like, I don't know, maybe with 2014, it probably made the strongest attempt at a character-focused plot, but again, but Gareth Edwards and his team unfortunately just fumbled the ball there. I don't know. It's really difficult to rank Godzilla, Kodum, and GVK personally for me, because like they all have their issues, but in like very different ways. But yeah, I suppose GVK is the most
fun.
The most. I was trying to say the most visually enticing, but yeah, fun. It's basically the most fun of the three movies, and it's the most well paced of the three movies. So
yes.
I would say like GVK would be under Skull Island, and at the bottom, like who would be at the bottom? I would say maybe. I really don't know, but God, it's really difficult. I would have to really rewatch Godzilla 2014 again just to really get a stronger impression on where I would rank both movies. Because it's like no, fuck that. No, I'm not ready to go 4K just yet. I mean, if any, I don't know if I'll even upgrade to 4K at all. I've just spent like the last 10 years growing my Blu-ray collection. I ain't going through all that shit again.
Yeah, they didn't even fix the lighting problem.
Yeah, well, apparently the 4K version is finally fixed, but the Blu-ray that accompanies the 4K, the Blu-ray disc that accompanies the 4K disc, is the same shitty 4K Blu-ray we've gotten for the last 6 or 7 years.
No thanks. If I want to watch that movie again, I'll just pop the DVD into my laptop and adjust the lighting settings.
Yeah. So, how would you rank the Monsterverse movies, David?
Walking out of the theater, I thought that GVK would be number one, and I'm still processing that because I'm
still riding off that high.
Yeah, because I really, really love this movie. Even watching it the second time on HBO Max, I still have the same feelings I got the first time I watched it. Mm-hmm. But like you said, there's so many more positives about this film than 2014, which was my favorite for the longest time. Mm-hmm. Kong Skull Island being a very close second, and King of the Monsters being the bottom of the barrel for me. Mm-hmm. So I really don't know. I really want it to be number one, but I also love 2014. But between the two, I would more than likely, pop in Godzilla versus Kong if I want to see, some monster action. In 2014, I may just pop it in there for some indie appreciation.
I can see that, yeah. And so, in regards to the actual story itself, apparently the director recently made the claim that there was like a 5-hour cut of Godzilla versus Kong, which I find really hard to believe.
Well, it was an assembly cut. It wasn't an actual, his intended.
I don't find that hard to believe, because one weird issue with this movie is that there's a lot of like lore stuff that they just sort of drop in without explaining whatsoever. I think there's an entire movie's worth of character arc for Rin Serizawa that's just on the cutting room floor.
In terms of,
I really thought, based on the trailers and based on the first shot we see of him, where Godzilla's attacking Florida of all the fucking places, and he's standing on the building and he's like looking at Godzilla and he's got that look in his eye. I feel like we were gonna get, and what I predicted back when we did the trailer was like a whole Gamera 3 Revenge of Iris thing with him, where he like blames Godzilla for the death of his dad and wants revenge and all that. And I think that was the idea. They just didn't explain any of it.
Yeah. In terms of Ren Serizawa, one of the new characters introduced in this movie. They pretty much do nothing with him. He's a non-entity, and you can easily write him out of the movie altogether and just have Mechagodzilla be a remote control robot.
Well, it would probably be better if they just didn't give him a name. If he was just Asian sidekick, Asian henchman who
secret Asian man
who pilots the big dinosaur Jaeger. Like making him Serizawa attaches all these expectations of like, what does that mean for the lore? And then they just don't explain anything.
Or they could have just given that role to Maya and replaced Maya with Walter. Have him go to the Hollow Earth with the team.
Oh yeah, she was also like a waste. I feel like all the villains were wasted in my opinion, and they were all just killed off. So yeah, when it came to Ren Serizawa, I do feel like there's probably all of his characterization was probably lost in that like roughly 4 hours that they cut out of that movie. But I feel like outside of the Ren Serizawa stuff, what else could be within those 4 hours or 3.5 hours that they cut out aside from
Lance Reddick had a bigger role apparently.
And who was he?
He's a director of Monarch. He only has like 2 brief scenes in the Hong Kong sequence.
Wait, Monarch was in this movie?
Yeah, you don't remember the 5 minutes of what's his name from the last one?
Friday Night Lights guy.
Yeah,
Mark Russell,
the actor from
from
King Kong 05.
Okay,
Kyle Chandler.
Kyle Chandler. Okay, right.
Well, I mean, the lady who was in control of Kong was a Monarch agent too.
Oh, okay. They
that
I don't think they even name dropped Monarch at all.
Yeah, they did.
Oh, a few times they did, yeah.
This is why you should watch the movie in the theater.
Fuck you.
Or rewatch it 5 minutes before we do the review, like I did.
I'll have you know that I took my notes on this movie because the second time I was watching this movie, I kept going, "What?"
What was really weird when I was sitting in the theater, the first title card, or not title card, like what do you call it when they have the big giant subtitles to tell you like where you're at, like the location?
I guess caption locate. Just captions.
Title cards.
Yeah,
captions,
like,
title cards. It's the same thing.
Like the moment in Civil War where it just goes Bucharest in giant bold letters. The first time we got one of those, it just said somewhere on Skull Island. Which seemed like a weird way to word that. Like, why not just say Skull Island? But then the second time we got one was when they were on the boat, and they got like super specific with that one. They were dropping like coordinates. They were like so many degrees north, so many degrees west, and I was like, the fuck?
Or if you remember, like the second one, it was like Kong containment, which I seriously thought they missed the chance to call it a Kongtainment.
I'd like to know how they built that dome around Kong. How did they bamboozle him? Did they knock him out with chloroform? Like
was it Mephisto, David?
It was Mephisto. Of course, it was Mephisto.
It was Mephisto. or for all we know, it could have been some of that Soma berry juice.
Yeah, why not?
I mean, they did intoxicate Kong, keep him sedated. For when they were shipping his ass over across the sea.
And I guess the idea is that building the dome upset the natural order of Skull Island, and that's why the storm swallowed the island?
No, I think they made the dome because of the storm.
Because of the storm, yeah.
Yeah, because
there's a line where the lady says when he's trying to convince her to let him take Kong off island, she's like, no, our meddling has already upset the natural balance of Skull Island, or something like that.
Oh, I don't remember that line. I remember basically saying that she doesn't want Kong. She doesn't want to release Kong because then he'll be a sitting duck for Godzilla wherever he goes. So like the dome was made to keep Godzilla away from Kong. Which was, by the way, speaking of the state of Skull Island, that was the thing that I thought was very interesting, where apparently in the decade since Kong Skull Island, the island itself has essentially been in the past it was established that the island was surrounded by a large storm, and I guess in the decade since, the storm has grown to the point to where it just swallowed up the island, leaving Kong to be, and a few other animals and the Iwi girl to be the only survivors around. And which really sucks. I thought like it was a shame that they had to essentially remove Skull Island from the equation, but I guess that it was done so for the sake of Kong's overall plot of finding a new home.
Maybe Skull Kong can magically recover off screen, like what happened to Infant Island in the show.
I guess
that's another weird thing. That's another weird thing because King of the Monsters set up things on Skull Island.
Yes,
and GPK never followed up.
Right. They established that Skull Island was going to be essentially become the new Monster Island. But if that's the case, then what happened to Rodan and Mothra's egg and all the rest of the other Titans? Because if you noticed, in the opening credits, it showed all the monsters that had previously been defeated by either Godzilla or Kong. And among all the monsters Godzilla defeated, you see a picture of Rodan. Yeah. So I'm thinking, wait, is everyone essentially dead at this point?
And they also teased that they were building Mechagodzilla on Skull Island.
Really? Is that was that the Steve Martin article that was teased in the closing credits?
Yeah, there was something in the credits about a robot being constructed, or
a mechanized giant or something.
A mechanized giant. I mean, I guess that could have been in reference to the dome. Maybe. I don't know.
Is the dome mechanized? No, the Steve Martin article is the...
I mean, it's a giant holodeck. That seems pretty mechanical to me.
I mean, for all we know, it's like these movies were just... I feel like there was a huge creative difference between 2014 and King of the Monsters, where I feel like whatever 2014 tried to set up, King of the Monsters kind of essentially just did its own thing. And I'm thinking that might be the case here, given that this is definitely a more Kong-focused story, and so anything involving Godzilla was kind of just thrown to the wayside.
That's kind of funny, because they should have named this film Kong versus Godzilla, because it's more about him.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
But I think they probably switched it around to avoid legal issues with Toho.
I wonder if there was more Godzilla stuff in the 5-hour cut as well. There are basically two movies happening here. One is like a pretty good Kong Skull Island sequel where they're exploring the Hollow Earth. It's just like a weird remake of Journey to the Center of the Earth, but with King Kong. And then the other movie is like a Monsterverse reinterpretation of like the classic Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla story. And then somewhere in the middle they fight. And it feels like we spend way more time on that first movie than we do on that second movie. And so I'm just wondering if there's like more Godzilla stuff that was either, in the script or perhaps shot and cut out.
That's the thing I kind of doubt, only because when it comes to most of these type of movies, anything that's shot for special, anything that's like a special effects laden shot, that's a lot of money that I'm sure the studio doesn't want to go to waste. So anything that's like involving special effects like Godzilla, I'm sure it would be added to the final cut of the movie, as opposed to just like thrown away as a DVD deleted scene extra.
Well, not if all they had filmed was like the human part of it though, and like the Godzilla effects were like rough, like a previs type deal, then they might cut it. Like we've seen that sort of thing, and like you watch some of the deleted scenes from Revenge of the Sith, and it's like shitty like PS2 models of battle droids running around.
This 5-hour cut is just an assembly cut. It wasn't intended as something significant.
Right.
It's very common in Hollywood to do these assembly cuts where they just throw in every single footage that they filmed,
right, and
see where the film works.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I'm sure
the fucking Snyder cut is one big ass assembly cut.
Right. I'm sure.
And you know what? Normally those things aren't supposed to be released.
Right. Oh yeah. And according to Snyder, it's like there's an even longer cut that only he has access to.
What?
Yes. Although here's the thing, honestly, I'm very curious to know how many people out there would be interested in a Gareth cut of 2014, given that...
The only thing I want is just to put the cameo back in the movie. Fucking
Akira Takarada.
Thank you. God, Japanese names. Mr. Bullseye. Put him...
the funny thing is that
I've met him too. Oh God.
He went head to head with your shirt.
He did.
He met Akira Takarada. I met Adam Wingard.
He touched me. He touched me, David.
Wait, really?
Yes.
What?
He saw the Mechagodzilla on his shirt. He was like, "Oh, Mechagodzilla, pow pow pow!"
And I was so flustered by the fact that I was just touched by a Toho legend that I spoke Spanish to him.
You were touched literally and metaphorically.
It was as if the hand of God came to you.
Funny thing, I was also wearing a Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla shirt when I met Adam Wingard.
I had met some other celebrities at other G-Fest. We stood in an elevator with fucking Katsura.
Talk to Moko Ai, yeah.
We had talked to M11. None of them had ever touched me before. We ate breakfast across the room from Don Fry. At no point did he come over and give me a pat on the back. You know what I'm saying? Like,
there's two things you don't know about breakfast.
It's a whole other level when there's physical contact.
So did you have physical contact with Adam Wingard, David?
I mean, we took pictures, and he told me he liked my Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla shirt.
All right, then. Let's see. So, yeah, you're definitely right that this is mostly a Kong movie, and that Godzilla is pretty much relegated to the temporary bad guy until the last minute bad guy shows up. Very similar in the style of BVS, where it's Batman and Superman, then eventually Doomsday shows up and the two team up to fight him.
I think that trope is done better here. Cause,
I was about to say, I feel like this movie is BVS done right, because the Mechagodzilla threat is seeded throughout the movie rather than just pulling it out of their ass at the last second.
Mm-hmm.
And Zack Snyder...
And the reason for Godzilla and Kong fighting each other feels less contrived than in BVS, where Zack Snyder was jumping through fucking hoops, and blowing up people in wheelchairs and doing all kinds of crazy shit.
I feel like everything involving the Godzilla side of the plot. So yeah, you mentioned there's two plots. There's Team Kong and Team Godzilla. Team Kong, you have what's his name, Dr. Nathan Lind, who is a geologist who wants to study Hollow Earth.
And a Matthew Broderick type of character.
Yeah, pretty much like a Matthew Broderick type of character. Here's a weird thing. So it's established the world. Giant monsters have been established to exist, and they are public knowledge. And yet, when he writes a book theorizing what Hollow Earth may or may not be, people call him a crazy man, crazy for it, even though they live in a world filled with giant fucking monsters.
True. I mean, the kaiju are common knowledge at this point, but the whole Hollow Earth thing is kind of a secret. Like, only the Monarch people really know about that. Like, the public has never been shown to have any awareness of that in any of the other movies. It's always just Monarch people talking about, the Hollow Earth. And thank God we finally got to see the fucking Hollow Earth, because it was all theoretical in Kong Skull Island. They were just talking about the Hollow Earth. And then in KOTM, they gave us just the tip, just a little bit of the Hollow Earth.
Like it's kind of like a pseudo-Egyptian Atlantis type of environment.
It's Zootopia. Who are we kidding?
Zootopia, yeah. It's Moo from Atragon.
Right, they just sort of scratched the surface of the Hollow Earth, and then in this movie they were just like, "Fuck it," and they just went balls deep in that Hollow Earth, and that was good. I was glad to see what it's like down there, and a really interesting world. I would love, like, if they make any more Kong movies, just explore that Hollow Earth, man. Let's see what's down there.
Any of you guys noticed that some of the monsters, like the Hellhawks and the
Warbats
monster, they have similar dorsal plates as Godzilla.
Yeah, I noticed that. That was interesting.
I remember at one point there was a big lizard that came in and ate some other creature.
It was like a crab.
Yeah, and it looked a lot like a big four-legged. I think it was a Godzilla relative. Like, it looked similar.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting. What was it? And I do like the exploration of the Kong's culture, implying that Kong species may have once been very intelligent enough to have crafted statues and weapons and a throne room and steps and doors, and somehow
it feels a lot like what they did with the Kong lore in that book that we reviewed, Andres.
Yeah, Kong, King of Skull Island.
Yeah, the one that Bill.
I read that book.
Recommended.
Right, and like somewhere along the way, the Kong species eventually kind of like somewhat quote unquote devolved or regressed, regressed into just a very primal, animalistic species of giants.
Well, I think what happened is that some of them got isolated on Skull Island, and then they just sort of forgot the old ways. And then, I mean, even if Kong's parents knew about all that shit, they fucking died. And so he was the last one.
True, yeah.
It's a bit like whenever they do a Superman story where he's like learning about Krypton for the first time,
Right.
And if they hadn't done the whole sign language thing on the boat, I would have been like, they're really jumping the shark right now. But because they established that he's intelligent enough to pick up sign language, suddenly it opens the door for like, well, what else can he do? And then you get down there and they've got like fucking architecture, like they've built like a giant like temple and like a throne, and they've like got some kind of a science involving this energy source that's down there.
Apparently, they're also artistic enough to etch a lizard shape around the base of the throne.
Right. Well, there was also a big ass Kong statue.
Right.
Remember when Kong did he like flipped onto the ceiling because of the gravity inversion?
He pulled a Princess Leia from The Last Jedi.
Right. When he did that, there was like a big ass statue. Which, by the way, I like the like gravity stuff down there. That's really interesting, and it makes a lot of sense because if there was a Hollow Earth, there would have to be something like that going on. Otherwise, the pressure would be so much that it would just crush anything that went down there, like a fucking black hole. So if a Hollow Earth exists, then there must be some weird gravity thing going on.
Yeah, it's definitely like the most intriguing idea there that they've established, and I'm glad that they were able to explore that as little as we got to see of it. Because again, this movie moves at a very fast pace, and eventually we got to go back to the whole Godzilla stuff.
This is a movie that I'm really interested to read the novelization of.
Oh yeah, I'm getting that too. Yeah,
because there's a lot of interesting ideas and like lore that they've set up here that they just didn't go into. That a writer like Greg Keyes, who I've read before, and he's doing the novelization, can really grasp onto that and expand it. And I'd be interested to see what he does with that.
Just curious, for David, have you read read or listened to the novelization of King of the Monsters?
I read it. Yeah.
Okay.
I finished it in 2 weeks.
Okay. Just wondering, because you and I feel the similar way about King of the Monsters. Would you say that the novelization was more the story-wise, it was more interesting than the movie?
Oh yeah, definitely. It works way better as a book than it does as a movie because
okay. Then that case,
King of the Monsters.
Yeah.
Because King of the Monsters is an ensemble, and the film, it can only cover so much in 2 hours, but the book, it goes into detail about Alan Jonah, about Griffin, that pilot that no one really knows about, O'Shea Jackson's character, and there's a lot more clarity in the novelization for King of the Monsters, and I actually enjoyed reading it more than actually watching the damn movie.
Okay, yeah, because that was the reason why I've always been hesitant to check out the novelization. But yeah, I'll definitely check it out. And if they were able to flesh out the story that much, then yeah, I also would be interested to see what the novelization of GVK would have to offer.
The same goes with the novelization for 2014. It works better as a book than it does as a movie. And the book actually restores some of the elements from the first trailers that were cut from the theatrical cut, like Sten's speech that's restored. There's a scene in the book where Godzilla has this mini battle on Alcatraz Island with the planes, and Ford he reunites with the son before going back into San Francisco to find out.
Ford is here.
Oh, they put he's talking about the 2014 novelization.
Oh shit! Okay, yeah.
So they put the Alcatraz stuff in there because I know that they cut that from the movie, or I don't know, they probably never even filmed it, but I know it was in the script, and that was also like a callback to that 3D one that they were going to make in the 80s. And that one, Godzilla, the like final battle against Godzilla in that script, which I've read, is on Alcatraz Island.
Yeah.
Nice.
So.
Well, let's see, where was I going with this? Earlier before you mentioned the sign language Kong, which another concept I really enjoyed, kind of showing that Kong is more than just a monster. He's a creature that, and I feel like this is like a reason why they chose Kong to be like the character for the audience to root for. Because he's a character who is very sympathetic, something that a lot of people can easily identify with, given how very humanoid of a character he is, in terms of how he looks, how he acts, how he behaves, and overall he's like gorilla. I guess like primates in general are species or are animals that we are capable of sort of identifying with more than a lizard or than reptiles. But it was kind of weird.
I mean, apes learning sign language are, that's a real thing. That happens in real life.
Right, we had
and Kong has big brain.
Yes.
Kong is a thinking animal.
He monkey.
He's a thinking animal. I got some major Dawn of the Planet of the Apes vibes in the theater watching that. I was like, oh, this feels good. This feels like 2014. Not that 2014, but this feels like.
Although I felt it was kind of weird that apparently, what's her name? I think it was Dr. Andrews. Oh no, Dr. Andrews, like the
Rebecca Hall.
Rebecca Hall. I thought it was weird that her character wasn't aware that he could speak sign language, given that he was constantly being monitored within the Kongtainment unit.
Listen, that's a weird trope in these monster movies. The monsters are like eerily stealthy when they need to be. All right.
Yes.
It's like in '98 where it's like, how did you lose a giant lizard in the middle of New York City? Or even in 2014 when he just like walks up on the airport and you're like, where did he come from?
Right. It's like the jet is flying and then a giant dorsal fin shows up. It's like, whoa.
You just see the foot come out of nowhere and you're like, what? He got from the harbor to there that quick and we didn't see, nobody noticed? Like,
he definitely, this movie's all very guilty of that as well, especially when we get to the most, the part that I had one of the parts I had the biggest issue with in terms of like something happening for the sake of the plot, when the throne that Kong was in just so happens to be directly underneath Hong Kong. And Godzilla just is able, somehow miraculously strong enough to burn a hole through Hong Kong into Hollow Earth. And then Kong just like in a matter of minutes is able to climb up to the surface of the planet.
I have some explanations for those things, Andres.
I'd like to hear them.
If the throne is at the exact center of the Earth, then no matter where you are on the Earth, you would be able to reach it by burrowing to the center of the Earth. So if that is indeed the case, and I don't know if that is the case, but I would guess it must be, then no matter where Godzilla was on the Earth, if he burrowed to the center of the Earth, he would have reached that chamber.
But he didn't burrow to the center of the Earth. He shot an atomic breath straight down.
Okay. Also, when he started shooting down at the ground, I half expected him to start flying like in Hetero, and I would have died. No, but that could be explained as, I mean, after the end of KOTM when he went Super Saiyan, he's just stronger now, man. He's just built different. You know what I mean?
Here's the thing. I don't
like that. He's been hitting that gym.
He's gone to the gym. Hitting the gym. He's been working the glutes.
He's been working on the biceps, the triceps, the trapezius,
the pectorals.
God damn, you both have been improving on your Schwarzeneggers, haven't you?
Went from a skinny, scrawny Japanese to a strong Aryan German.
That's a reference to Laughingstock Media, folks. I don't like it when writers rely too much on information that is not explained in. I would accept that explanation. This is just like the Rin Sarazawa stuff. It's not explained in the movie. Right.
It's just.
That's stuff that you need to watch the other movies, and I don't like that, because I always think that a story should be told as its own separate piece.
These are just the conclusions that I drew while watching the movie and trying to figure it out.
Sure.
Also, as for Kong being able to climb from the center of the Earth to Hong Kong that quickly, he's big monkey.
He's monkey. That's why.
Well, to be fair, how long does that sequence last of him climbing? They probably just, cut out, half an hour of him climbing up.
I don't know, because it's like that's a weird thing. When Kong and the human when Kong and his supporting cast goes down to Hollow Earth, there's a big portal. I don't know if it's if it's like a portal developed by machines or if it's like a natural part of the Earth. But they go into the portal.
They said that what that is that's when the gravity inverts.
Okay.
And so it's like. You have to go through this gravity inversion to get to the center of the Earth.
Right. And through there you go through a crazy 2001 A Space Odyssey Doctor Who portal. Apparently
a gravity inversion looks like the fucking tunnel of horrors from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
I thought it looked like the portal from Super Mario Brothers.
Well, a long time ago, dinosaurs and titans lived on Earth. Then an asteroid came. Goodbye, dinosaurs.
It reminded me of in the Family Guy Star Wars episode where he goes, hyperspace always looks so weird, and then you look out the window of the Millennium Falcon, and it's just the Doctor Who opening.
Yes. But strangely enough, there's like no portal when Godzilla looks down at Kong looks down at Godzilla. There's like zero portal. It's just a regular long ass hole.
Right. That might just be because it was like solid rock. Like he just shot through salt. Like because when they went through the Antarctica hole, they went into like a free fall, and then that's when like the gravity inversion happened. So maybe it's just because where Godzilla was, it was just rock all the way down. I don't know. That's
Again, it's just too many questions. I feel like this is one of those things where it happens for the sake of the plot to move along quickly, where it's like we need
my only question about that whole scenario is why Godzilla shot the hole to the center of the earth.
He was there for Mechagodzilla specifically. Why does he ignore his Mechagodzilla and is somehow able to sense Kong from like 1 billion miles away?
Is it because he could sense the Apex dudes fucking with the power source?
Well, you guys remember that the moment Kong started charging the power source with the axe, that's when Godzilla reacted and shot his beam into the earth.
So is he able to like sense stuff happening on Hollow Earth?
Because remember they said that the power source is similar to Godzilla's radiation.
Right, similar,
right, it's
but
the same
like,
color.
Yeah. So
and then there's those like weird glowing blue rocks. I think what it is that there's some kind of element down there that like
Element X.
Yes, and Godzilla's species must have that inside of them as well, and that's why they can do
shit. That's a good tie-in to that.
And maybe that's why they can do the thing.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
It must be something like that. You know?
Right.
Again, we need to read this novelization.
Yeah.
But that's a signature thing of Terry Rossio. You know, there's some things that must be sacrificed for the sake of the plot. You see that a lot in Pirates of the Caribbean.
Or the sake of like, the sake of the plot, where they want to get Kong. They want to have, Godzilla's on his way to fight to track down Mechagodzilla, but of course the writers want to have one more fight between Godzilla and Kong before the Mechagodzilla fight, but they need to get Kong away. They need to get Kong to Godzilla, so what's the quickest way they can do it? Oh, have them conveniently match their locations, conveniently match up, and dig a hole so that Kong can quickly meet up with Godzilla, just, for the sake of pacing and to get from plot point A to point B to point C. And
what I really like about that scene, though, visually? The whole thing where, because of the gravity inversion, King Kong and Godzilla both look down the hole at each other, because Kong is technically, from Godzilla's perspective, upside down, almost like he's in Australia or something.
Yeah.
And, like...
I agree. That
like a really cool visual.
That is definitely true. It did took me a second to realize that, but yeah, it was a very nice little inversion there, or subversion. I'm not sure how would you say that, but yeah. And what was another thing there? So yeah, I forgot to mention when in terms of Kong's subplot, we did had what's her name, the little girl. Gia. Yeah, who is the last of the Iwis. Apparently, she is deaf. She is deaf and can only communicate with sign language.
The actress is deaf. I don't know if the character is supposed to be deaf, because the Iwis didn't talk anyway.
True.
So,
that's what I initially thought. But then, upon my second viewing of the movie, as she was meeting Kong for the first time on screen, there's a zoom in on her ear, and I thought, why are you zooming in on the ear? And I was like, oh, okay, so it's zooming in on the fact that she cannot hear him, like the stomping and walking up to her, whatever.
Oh,
yeah, there's multiple. There's multiple times throughout the movie where the sound goes silent, and all you hear is what she would hear.
But then she has the ability to hear Kong's heartbeat when they're on the boat, and she also knows that Godzilla is coming. Is it kind of like a Beethoven thing, where Beethoven was deaf and he would have to like lay his ear on the ground to hear the notes?
I believe so, because there are times when she would like put her hand up against a wall or her hand on the floor to pick up I believe what's happening is she's picking up the vibrations of Godzilla or Kong's heartbeat.
That's what it was at the center of the earth. It was vibranium. That makes perfect sense. It was Mephisto. Oh.
That's how he was able to get Hong Kong and the throne room to line up. It was Mephisto.
Of course.
But when we were discussing the trailer, I thought that she would be a hindrance to the movie, but to my surprise, she turns out to be, in my opinion, the most compelling human character in this entire movie.
Oh yeah, I think the most emotionally compelling scene is the one where they're in Antarctica and they're trying to convince Kong to go into the hole, and they convince her to lie to him. Well, not even lie. I mean, for all they knew, it could have been the truth. Where she's like, "Your family might be down there," and then he makes that face, and then he turns and runs in.
Mm-hmm. To be honest, you didn't need a character.
Imagine she just tells Kong, "But Kong, what about the senoritas? Vamonos!"
There's beer in the ship.
What kind?
Banana flavored?
Is there such a thing?
I'm sure there is.
Very juicy.
There's all kinds of cocktails out there.
There's Jessica Lange is in there, and she's got tons of berry juice.
Oh yeah, there's quite a lot of callbacks to previous versions of King Kong.
I expected them to do a callback to the tree thing, and what they did with that was really cool. But what I never expected in a million years was to get the King Kong airlift.
Yes.
And I was like, how are they going to do this? Are they going to bring in blimps? What's going to happen? But no, they just had those big ass helicopters that we have now. So now something that made no sense in the 60s actually makes perfect sense in 2021,
Yes, we had the return of Flying Monkey.
It's also nice to just see, there's just simple things about this movie that it's just nice to see, King Kong on a boat, Godzilla attacking a city, simple hallmarks of these characters that we haven't got yet in this universe because of the way it was constructed.
Or Kong running on all fours. We never got that in Skull Island, but I guess that's because we never had an opportunity to see him run. Like that.
Right. Yeah, Wingard did more of the the thing in this one where it's sometimes he goes on all fours and sometimes he stands up all the way, which is more like 33, I think.
Yeah.
Whereas in Robert's movie it was very 76. He just stood straight up the whole time.
Mm-hmm. And also we got glimpses of the Kong 76 roar.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can hear it in there.
Yeah, a few times they used that stock roar.
What did y'all feel? Mm-hmm. And this is another thing that will have to be expanded upon in the novelization. But what they did with the whole King Ghidorah connection,
I thought it was a wasted opportunity.
First of all, the first hint of it is when we see the eye in the facility, and if you pay attention, it's making the same noise that the orca makes in the last movie.
I didn't get that until the second viewing. Yeah,
and then what winds up happening is basically Transformers, which one? Age of Extinction.
Yeah.
When they took the Mechagodzilla or the Megatron head, and then he uploaded his consciousness into the new body and became Galvatron. Basically, King Ghidorah's only surviving brain took over the body of Mechagodzilla. So in a weird way, it's not only Kiyu, but it's also Mecha King Ghidorah in a strange way.
Yeah, I like the idea. I just wish they did more with it.
I'd also like to know how the hell they got King Ghidorah's skull, since the last time we saw it, it was in the hands of... I kept expecting Charles Dance to show up, be I'm working with them all along, which wouldn't really make sense given his his motivations in the last movie. These guys are doing the opposite of what he would want. But
yeah. I bet you maybe the novelization will somehow explain that eventually Charles organization was arrested and they confiscated the Ghidorah head, and then at somewhere along the line Apex got a hold of it.
Yeah, or maybe Apex sent their thugs and fucking murdered Charles Dance and his crew and then just took it.
Yeah.
That's possible. Funny thing is that a couple years ago when leaks were everywhere, there was one leak that kind of got to me because it just sounded so out there even for Godzilla.
What was that?
Supposedly, Alan Jonah uploads his consciousness into this humanoid monster, and that's the monster that Godzilla and Kong have to team up against. At the time,
That sounds very much so like what happened to the Griffin.
Yeah, I'm beginning to think, okay, maybe that was authentic, because they said that Legendary didn't like that and they had to take that script back for a rewrite. So, and Terry Rossio only gets a story by credit, so maybe.
I know there's like the writing was credited to one of the writers credited was Max Borenstein, which, by the way, I was super surprised to see him still attached to these movies after 2014.
Yeah, he's on all of them.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, here's a weird thing I noticed on the second viewing. 2014 takes place in 2014, right? That movie took place in the current year.
Yeah.
So this movie must take place in like 2024, because there's a line where Elon Musk, evil Elon Musk,
the Dos Equis man, as I call him.
The Dos Equis man. He says, ever since Godzilla was revealed to the world 10 years ago, I had a dream, and then Mechagodzilla killed him.
Yes.
So it's like we're in the future now. There was a time skip, all in game, just off screen.
Yeah, so it's supposed to be like 5 years after King of the Monsters.
Wait, was King of the Monsters supposed to be in the present day as well?
Yeah, King of the Monsters was 2018 or 2019?
It was 2019, wasn't it?
Yeah, 2019.
In the same year it was released.
Okay, I guess that's enough time for them to establish that the island that all the monsters went to went kaput.
It's also enough time to build a fucking Mechagodzilla.
I guess so.
One thing I wanted to bring up regarding the story is that you didn't need a character like Nathan Lynn. I felt like Eileen and Gia should have been the lead characters, and the film should have been focused on
I feel
relationship with Gia and their relationship with Kong.
Yeah, because couldn't the Dos Equis man just have come to them on the island and been like, we can take Kong to the center of the earth, and then you wouldn't need the fucking middleman.
Right.
Yeah, treat this guy kind of like a Carl Denham type, but with Elon Musk money.
All he does is kickstart Kong's heart, like Motley Crue at the end. That's like all he had.
You could easily give that to Rebecca Hall's character.
Yeah,
she could have done that.
I feel like they were trying to pull a surrogate family sort of deal, almost like a reverse gendered version of what they did in Godzilla 2000, where you have the daughter character, the daughter type, and the father type character, and along comes another parental figure of the opposite sex who eventually joins to form a surrogate family unit, and that's what they were kind of hinting at here, but. For me, it just doesn't work, only because, like you said, Nathan Lynn's character or Alexander Skarsgård's character contributes almost nothing to this movie.
At least he got to do more than Kyle Chandler. Poor Kyle Chandler.
Oh yeah, it's like
he was like the main character of the last movie, and now he's in 5 minutes.
He went from being the character who knew everything to the character that knew nothing.
Yeah, what's going on?
Godzilla's attacking people. We don't know why. Yeah.
Here we go.
Come on.
One thing I want to mention, since you brought up Godzilla 2000, there's like Mechagodzilla's I guess it's his theme, because it only appears when he's on screen. There's this part where it sounds too similar to J. Peter Robinson's reinterpretation of the Godzilla theme in the American version for Godzilla 2000. That when Orga first appears.
Really?
Dylan, you watched it. You watched it a few hours ago. Like the whole choir thing when Mechagodzilla shows up for the first time and when he's fighting Godzilla. It sounds
I don't remember I can't think of the theme that you're talking about from 2000 in my head right now, but I haven't watched that movie in a while, but I'll take your word for it.
Goddamn.
Like for me,
I got some Godzilla 2000 vibes just from Millie Bobby Brown and Fire Fist from Deadpool 2 going around in the little
that's
weather.
Him? He's the Australian kid from Deadpool 2?
He's Kiwi, thank you. He's from New Zealand.
Okay.
Anyway, like Fire Fist. They're going around in the little weather tracker van. Like that felt kind of like Godzilla 2000 there for a minute.
I guess that's a good transition over to the Godzilla side of things. Where we have Millie Bobby Brown, we have the kid from Deadpool 2, and we have some character named Bernie Hayes, who's running the Sons of Serizawa podcast of this universe.
Yeah, by the way, if you're infiltrating a major corporation to try and leak their secrets online, don't talk about it on your podcast.
Or here's the thing.
How come they never caught him?
Hide your fucking voice. You know, put like a deep voice synthesizer,
right?
Or something.
Scramble it. How did they never catch him? Or maybe they just knew it was him and he was in a thread.
This is just one of those "fuck you, that's why" because "fuck you, that's why" moments in this script. Yeah, it's I didn't like that. It's honestly, I feel like they were trying to do most of the
and they couldn't do a better. Yeah. They couldn't do a better explanation of how they find him than the whole bleach thing. Like Millie Bobby Brown couldn't have done like a tech thing, like, oh, I traced his IP address or something. Like, they got to do this weird bleach thing,
right? And by talking to the Asian guy from The Daily Show with Trevor Noah.
I didn't know that's where that Asian guy was from, but okay.
I recognized him. And it was just like, apparently they were able to conveniently drive from wherever Madison lived over. It just, I know they cut between how long they've been driving, but it felt like it was just like the next block over that Bernie happened to be living next to in the city next to theirs.
Well, okay, they are both on the East Coast, assuming that Madison still lives in Boston, whatever's left of Boston, because he's in Florida. Which I never thought in a million years. Like, where do you think Godzilla is going to attack in a movie? Pensacola. Like, that would have been the last fucking place.
Oh, by the way, only 8 people died during that attack?
Well, he only attacked that one facility.
There's lots of people that's normally in a facility.
But before he got there, they evacuated the building. Remember? They were like, Kaiju, Titan alert. Everybody get the fuck out.
I remember when I was watching this movie
It's okay, Andres. Way more people died in Hong Kong.
Yeah, I'm sure a whole 10 of them died.
Every time Kong jumps on a building to like hopscotch away from the atomic breath, I'm like, oh, there's 10,000 people.
Don't worry. Only 5 people died in each building.
Like 9/11 times 100 in Hong Kong.
Okay, fine. 12 at the max. This is definitely one of those movies that just refuses to acknowledge the consequences these kaiju destruction scenes bring upon humanity.
I'm reminded of a line from the movie Knives Out, in which Daniel Craig, who plays a detective using his best Foghorn Leghorn impression, says, "It just makes no sense. It compels me, though."
What was another thing? I remember there was a scene where Millie Bobby Brown was looking at episodes of Bernie's podcast, and one of them was labeled "Pregnant Mothra Theory." Who's the baby daddy?
I missed that.
Yeah, and also on Madison,
that feels like just a shout out to the shippers.
Oh boy, good thing the Godzilla fan base, the Godzilla fan base would have a field day with that.
Ooh-wee.
There was also another shot where apparently Madison had a bunch of newspaper articles pinned to the wall, and one of them was her mother, and it said hero or villain, and I was like, fuck you, she's a villain all the way. She led to the deaths of countless hundreds of thousands of people in the last movie. Hero my ass.
She was fucking crazy. She was an insane.
Here it is. Emma Russell, villain or savior. That's exactly what it said on the newspaper clipping.
Vera Farmiga is very good at playing crazy. like before that movie came out, I knew her for Bates Motel, and I was like, yeah, this tracks, you know.
But apparently, in universe, people debate whether or not she was actually beneficial to humanity.
Well, Andres, in the real world, people benefit whether Thanos was right. So, you know, maybe it's not that weird if you think about it.
So you're saying that Emma Russell killed more people than Godzilla did at Pensacola?
Yes.
Oh, definitely. Oh, definitely.
Yes.
Just the fucking dudes that got shot when her and Madison were kidnapped, air quotes, is more than died in Pensacola, and she was complicit in all that.
That was the death total in Hong Kong then.
Exactly. Yes. Let's see. So yeah, we have Madison, we have her friend, and we have Bernie. And honestly, I feel like a lot they're mainly there to help set up Mechagodzilla, because they end up going to Apex, and that's where the Dos Equis man exposits where Mechagodzilla came from to them. But like you mentioned earlier, Dylan, you could have easily have the Dos Equis guy just talk to Team Kong and have them be the ones to discover Mechagodzilla's secret
reveal. No, because even if he had gone to them to initiate the whole Hollow Earth plot, they still would have been in the Hollow Earth, and therefore you still need somebody to sneak into the facility and I love the first scene we get of Mechagodzilla when he fucking wrecks that skull crawler.
Yeah,
and it was a pretty big skull crawler too. It looked like it must have been about the size, if not bigger, as the one from Kong Skull Island, the big one that Kong fought in that movie.
Right, that is a badass scene.
So what a great way to take like the big bad from 2 movies ago and just go, yeah, this thing, fuck it. It ain't shit.
Well, here's the thing. So they sent Team Kong to Hollow Earth to research and locate and extract the energy source of Hollow Earth for research. I don't know why Rebecca
Which was
Hall's
the whole reason they went down there, and then the lady is like, you can't take it. Like,
right,
what
it's
did you
like,
think?
yeah, exactly.
What's this about, lady?
It was it was such a forced scene just to make the Apex people look more like the bad guys than they should.
It's like they are. We already get it. They're the bad guys. We know.
So here's the thing. So they extract and here's my like slightly revised version of the story. They extract that sample. They go back to Apex base, and from there, the bad guys reveal to the good guys what they plan to do with that energy source all along, thus removing Team Godzilla completely from the movie, and you don't change the story. Nothing changes from the story whatsoever.
Man, that's not bad.
And also, here's the thing. How exactly did they get the energy source over to Apex in order to power up Mechagodzilla? Because apparently they somehow downloaded the power.
They said that they were replicating the energy signature.
Replicating my fucking ass.
Well, that's what he said, man. That's
I know it's what they said, but I find it to be a bullshit explanation.
But listen. They have crazy sci-fi tech. All right, this is the year 2024. It's just like the show of continuity where Godzilla shows up, and then 10 years later they have fucking maser tanks. Like, you don't know what they're capable of. They built Mechagodzilla for crying out fucking loud.
See, robots, I can dig. Okay, I'm a bit of a robot. I'm a bit of a robot man myself.
You dig giant robots. I dig giant robots. Chicks dig giant robots. No, they don't.
Downloading information to create an energy source from the center of the Earth from scratch. That I kind of find hard to believe. That's where I draw the line there.
That's where you draw the line in your giant monkey versus giant dinosaur movie.
Yes. At the very least, something like Pacific Rim had an internal logic that made sense. See, this is where I draw the line here, okay? This is what separates the Pacific Rims from movies like this.
Here's a logical question for Pacific Rim. Why didn't they just pilot the Jaegers remotely with like a Wii Sport, like instead of this whole fucking breach thing and like melding minds?
Because then it wouldn't be as fun. Damn it! But I don't know. I feel like that's a different question than downloading power sources.
They analyzed the power source and they could replicate the energy signature up top. Because fuck it.
Let's see. Oh, earlier before, so everyone is like shocked that Godzilla was attacking humanity for the first time ever. And people are like, what's happened? Godzilla was our savior. And I was like, wait a minute. Godzilla was never your savior. He destroyed San Francisco. He destroyed Boston. He never acted on anyone's behalf other than his own.
Yeah, but he beat the big monsters that would have killed even more people, Andres, you know?
Which... I do gotta say, it's like
seeing Godzilla attack those cities, though, man. It really made me wish that Gareth Edwards had just gone in a more anti-heroic route in the first movie, so that we could have gotten more of that all the way through.
I definitely
instead of trying to do 70s superhero Godzilla, and then everybody else has to sort of fit that into whatever they want to do with the character. You know, if you have an anti-hero, you can have them be a villain, you can have them be more heroic, depending on what your movie requires. But when you straight up just come out the gate and make him Superman, with the same death toll as the Superman that came out the year before. Then all of a sudden it's like everybody, if you want him to do something more questionable, you have to like write a reason for it into your script.
Very true, yes. And I definitely agree there. I feel like Godzilla is at his best when he's an antagonist or in an anti-hero role. And that's why I feel like...
That's a knock on Gareth Edwards. That's not a knock on this movie. This movie had 3 other movies worth of continuity that it had to live with,
Right. You're definitely right about that. And I feel like Godzilla works far better as an antagonist, and I liked his portrayal in this movie, where he's just this bastard of a character who's like, anyone who fucks with him, is gonna get it. And he already, they kind of somewhat established the Ghidorah plot, so that's why he's after King Ghidorah / Mechagodzilla. They establish that he sees Kong as a rival, so pretty much like anyone he doesn't like, he's ready to pick a fight with anyone. He's like, I'm taking you out, I'm taking you out, I'm taking you out.
I'll beat a motherfucker with another motherfucker.
Yes.
This is the first Mechagodzilla we've ever had who was constructed by like a private corporation. Which is a different take, because the original Mechagodzilla obviously is an alien super weapon, and then all the other versions were constructed by the Japanese military.
Yeah,
so it's interesting that we now have a Mechagodzilla of the private sector.
Yeah, that's unique.
Oh, I forgot to say, I asked Dillion this question prior, a couple of days prior, but did you think that the skull that they showed for King Ghidorah looked a bit too small? Because you just had like Ren Serizawa just like sitting in there, and he pretty much like his little cockpit area easily fits the entirety of the inside of the skull.
Is it possible that they could have just like carved certain pieces of the skull to like make it fit?
I mean, maybe. There are some weird scale issues I have with this movie, though, because like whenever Kong is like on the boat or on the island, or he's just like interacting with the humans, he doesn't look all that much bigger than he did in Skull Island to me.
Yeah.
But then whenever he's fighting Godzilla, suddenly he's almost as tall as Godzilla.
And there's several shots where Mechagodzilla seems to change size. Like on some shots, he's on equal size with Godzilla and Kong, and during that beam battle with Godzilla, suddenly he's taller than Godzilla.
I remember that, yeah.
Either he's on top of a hill, or somehow they purposely altered the size just to...
I will say that this Mechagodzilla grew on me a lot, because when we first got those toy leaks, I wasn't really feeling the design, but I was reserving judgment until I saw it in motion.
Yeah,
and having now seen it in motion, I really like this version of Mechagodzilla. I like that we finally have a Mechagodzilla who is able to move like as fluidly as Godzilla moves, because every other version of Mechagodzilla was much more stiff. This Mecha,
right? You guys notice that this Godzilla moves way more fluid than he did in the last 2 films?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like crawling around during the fight and shit.
Yeah, he runs.
Yeah, can we start talking about the fights, because that's what we're here for. We've established that the plot is nonsense, all right?
Like, it's all bullshit.
It's all bullshit. We're here to watch the monkey punch the lizard, and punch the lizard he fucking did.
Yes, it was really fun to see the monkey punch the lizard.
And then when Godzilla came back with that bitch slap, man.
Yeah. You know what? I feel like
I'm so glad they didn't show all the best moments from the fights in the trailers.
That's true.
Because I was a little bit worried about that. They showed a few of the best moments from the fights, but then they were doing shit that, like, when Godzilla capsized an aircraft carrier as if it was a fucking canoe, that, like, my brain exploded. And then fucking they did the like Jaws reference where he's like dragging that boat, like the barrels from Jaws, and then he like drags it under. And of course the Die Hard moment that we saw in the trailers.
Yeah.
The part where
jump.
The part where Kong uses that battleship to leapfrog over to the other aircraft carrier.
That was like, I feel like that came like straight out of Evangelion, with Unit 2 hopping from battleship to battleship.
Wait a minute, what was the Die Hard reference?
When Kong jumps off the aircraft carrier, it's very reminiscent to when John McClane jumps off the top of Nakatomi Plaza, and then there's the big explosion behind him.
Oh, for some reason I was thinking it was somewhere in the Hong Kong battle scene.
No, that's the sea battle. And then fucking Godzilla nearly drowned his ass in the first fight.
Yeah.
And then Rebecca Hall is like, "We have to help Kong." And I'm sitting in the theater like, "Bitch, you better stay out of this. We got fucking, we got bets to settle.
You gotta help yourself before you can help Kong.
I got money on this. Like, you need to calm the fuck down."
Did you hear the complaints from the last movie? Just stay the fuck out of this.
I am so glad I avoided the trailers and TV spots because after I saw the film for the first time, I went back and saw them, and they revealed so many spoilers. I had no idea that Kong was in that dome until I saw they
definitely they spoiled that. I made the
mistake of watching that Chinese trailer, and they spoiled the whole under the dome thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it makes you think that Bill was certainly onto something when he said he was going to go radio silent on all promotional material.
Yeah. I think he, out of all of us, probably had the best theater going experience because he knew nothing going in.
What did he say? Did he like the movie?
Oh, he fucking loved it. Yeah,
we're all on the same page here. I've noticed that Toku Legion hasn't been all Wild West like with the last movies.
I think, like, for the most part, fans generally like this movie more than any other movie. Like, a lot of people are divisive.
I would compare this to KOTM by saying that KOTM was like mixed to negative, whereas this is mixed to positive.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there are
definitely some people that we knew who didn't care for it very much.
Yeah.
People who don't like much of anything. No,
don't be mad, you please.
If any of them are listening, it's fine. We love you. But you can be a real party pooper sometimes.
But they're listening and they're like, "Yeah, Dillion, you're a poopy head."
Just wasn't dork enough for him.
That's a reference to audio synchronicity, folks. Anyways.
Yeah, everyone seems to be on the same page when it comes to this film.
Yeah. And again, I think it's because the trailer didn't fucking lie to us.
Mm-hmm.
They sold us on the movie that we wound up getting, which just seems like such a simple what a novel concept. 2014 and King of the Monsters both had that problem where their trailers made them look like they were trying to be so much smarter than they actually were.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas this movie is much closer to Skull Island in that it was like, yeah, this is the movie that I came here to see. This is the movie that they sold me on, and that's the movie they gave me, and I'm satisfied. And
it's very possible that, like, the majority of the Godzilla fan base and mainstream audiences as a whole, that's probably all they ever wanted out of Godzilla in the first place. I got the feeling that, looking at certain critics, when they watched this movie, they were like, yes, finally, this is the Godzilla movie I've been waiting for since 2014. And meanwhile, I've seen the same reaction from other Godzilla fans, where it's like there's a portion of Godzilla fans that care for just nothing but pure adrenaline-fueled spectacle and care for little else. And, again, you're free to enjoy Godzilla however you'd like. And there's
These
lot
are
of
probably Godzilla fans who also enjoy, like, Bayformers, or
Battle Royale.
Oh boy. Oh, Andres, you had to go there.
And so there's a lot of versions of Godzilla out there. There's versions of Godzilla where the movies are just, pure spectacle, like something akin to Final Wars or Destroy All Monsters. There's some versions of Godzilla where they're movies about their character pieces. Similar to, like, say, the original 54 or GMK. There's versions of Godzilla that has a little bit of both. There's versions of Godzilla where it's just nothing but C-SPAN, like in the case of Shin Godzilla, where it's just very, very dry political drama. There's very different versions of Godzilla, but I get the feeling that in terms of, like, the version of Godzilla that most people were expecting out of a big budget Hollywood adaptation, this seems to be the movie that comes the closest to audiences' expectations, for better or worse.
Yeah, well, I mean, Andres can. We can sit here and talk all day about how, like, the plot doesn't make sense, but we all love Godzilla movies where the plot is, like, fucking. I mean, your favorite Godzilla movie is Sea Monster. That's not exactly Citizen Kane.
It's not my favorite, but at the same time, it did made its own. It had its own internal sense of logic. Things made sense in the context of that universe, I feel. Whereas this one here, I feel like is constantly bending the rules and cheating its way out of explaining anything.
Oh, I guess that's why they use the breaking the law.
No. You can't bend rules if you never establish them. Just don't explain the rules, and then it doesn't matter.
It's like
that's this movie's philosophy.
There's only one rule in this movie. There's no rules.
Right. Listen, I love Final Wars. That movie's just walls to wall, just craziness. I'm a man of extremes, though. I like really intelligent films and really dumb movies. And the worst thing something can be to me is mediocre and boring.
I get you, and I respect your opinion, my good friend. And
do you, Anders? Do you?
I'm just saying that for me personally, it pushed the line after King of the Monsters. It kind of just pushed the line too much for me. Here's the thing: it's like, so if I want to see.
I would argue that King of the Monsters destroyed the line. There is no line anymore. So when GVK comes out, it's like, fuck it, they can do whatever the fuck they want now.
I think that's why I loved this film, because I was so fucking frustrated with King of the Monsters that once I saw GVK, I feel like, yes, this is the level of competence I expect out of a blockbuster.
Well, here before I talk about the special effects, I do want to mention that for me personally, if I want to see Big Monkey versus Giant Lizard, I'll most likely wait until people start uploading clips to YouTube, and then I'll just watch the clips on YouTube. If I want to watch
there are already clips on YouTube.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you were mentioning that this is like a new age of piracy now.
Yeah, with this whole HBO, it's no wonder that they've already announced that they're not doing this next year. There's no way they're making their money back on this day and date HBO Max deal. They're if they are going to keep releasing day and date, they're going to have to go to more of a what Disney Plus does. They're going to have to adopt that model, which that model doesn't really work that well either. But at least you're making some money off the people who watch it at home.
Mm-hmm. So anyways, it's like this movie offers spectacle and little else. But if I want to enjoy spectacle, I'll just watch it on YouTube. But when I want to watch a movie, I expect to watch a movie, I expect, like the full package.
I feel like you're conflating a movie with a film. This is not a film. This is a movie through and through.
Touché, Dylan. Touché.
A fact that Chris Nolan is being reminded about every day, and for the rest of his career, most likely.
Man. So
all films are movies, but not all movies are films.
Whoa.
Well.
Okay.
Also, I love that you can. This is a simple thing. This should just be a duh. But you can see everything.
Yes, I was just about to say that. I finally, this is something that I've been very critical of with the Monsterverse, save for Kong Skull Island. Yes, the wide shots, the clarity, no particle effects, no fucking clouds and dusts and shit everywhere.
And rain.
Rain.
When they do have a night fight, it's lit in such a way that you can see what's happening.
Yeah, and I don't know why people complain about the use of neon in that fight, but I personally am a fan of neon. So
I mean, that's just what Hong Kong looks like, right? So, duh. If I could make one slight change to this movie, it would be to move the climax. And I know why they did it. Obviously, it's the whole Chinese box office thing. But I would move the climax from Hong Kong to Tokyo, just because we've never seen this version of Godzilla. How great would it be to see this version of Godzilla attack Tokyo?
How sad is it that the only kaiju to attack Tokyo, to attack Japan in general, in the Monsterverse was the male Muto? Yeah,
just fucking have Godzilla attack Tokyo. It's like the one cliche everybody knows about Godzilla.
But no, instead they got to save it for Pacific Rim Uprising.
that in the old continuity they had to rebuild Tokyo every 5 years. Like that's the one thing that you ask anybody on the street about. What do you know about Godzilla? Oh, he destroys Tokyo.
Well, didn't the first Pacific Rim have a Hong Kong battle too?
Yes, it did. Yeah. Because
the big fight between Gypsy Danger and the
Otachi,
and also Leatherback.
Uh-huh.
And not just Gypsy Danger. I mean, Cherno Alpha was also there, and the other one, but they got taken out early.
Yeah. So here's the thing. So the reason why in Pacific Rim they fought in Hong Kong was because they were told, Legendary specifically told them not to have their movie in Japan because Godzilla was going to have a story set in Japan, which it really didn't.
Ain't that some shit?
And then the sequel, they do go to Japan and have the big battle there where they have the stupid reveal that all the kaiju have been aiming towards Mount Fuji all along, even though that's not what the kaiju were doing in the first movie.
Yeah, because if you were aiming towards Mount Fuji, you would not make landfall in Hong Kong.
Yeah, or Sydney.
Or
San Francisco.
All of those places point away from Mount Fuji. They should have just swam straight to Tokyo.
See, that's what I'm talking about when it comes to stupid, nonsensical bullshit, Dylan.
Listen, GVK is not as bad as Pacific Rim Uprising. I will die on this hill. I will fight you.
No. Okay. I'll give you that. This movie is better than Pacific Rim Up Yours.
It's better than that. I think it's better than King of the Monsters. And I think depending on who you are, it's better than 2014 because I just can't with that second act anymore.
You know what? I'll concede to that, yes.
It is not as good as Kong Skull Island or the first Pacific Rim. Those are the two best American kaiju movies that have been made up to this point.
Yes.
From a filmmaking perspective. In terms of spectacle, this one takes the cake. But in terms of everything else, in terms of the whole package, those are the two gold standard movies.
I kind of feel like Pacific Rim was better than GVK, and here's why. I feel like Pacific Rim did a better job at giving these giant characters weight. And while
that was Del Toro's whole like shtick.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this movie balances the weight while also having them like move more quickly because the Jaegers are very sort of stiff,
Uh-huh. Although I feel like the monsters might be moving a little bit too quickly in this movie in GVK, making it feel like a combination of Transformers and where the characters don't have any weight, so it's just like a lot of fast movement going on screen. And a little bit of like Godzilla Raids Again, where another instance where the kaiju are moving so fast that it's like very unnatural to look at.
See, I don't know. I don't think it looks as bad as Raids Again because I think them moving quickly and more fluidly looks more natural when done through CG than when you have suits. The suits moving around that quickly, it looked fucking ridiculous. You had to film the suits more slowly to. For that reason, to make them look good,
or rather, you have to shoot the suits slowly. Like the characters move fast, but they put everything in slow motion through high-speed cameras.
Right. It doesn't just help them feel bigger, which it does, but it also helps them look cooler because if a dude is in a monster suit and he's just walking like a normal guy, it's a bit like the Patterson Bigfoot footage where the Bigfoot's just like chilling in the woods, just walking around.
Hey, what's up? What's going on here?
You're like, that's the fakest shit I've ever seen.
I mean, I've heard complaints about the speed and the editing and the fastness, the franticness of these fights. It bothered me to a degree, but not enough to where it distracted me and ruined these fight scenes for me. Like for me, I definitely enjoy these fights like 90% of what was going on with these fights. And it definitely led to a lot of really awesome, very awesome moments of fight choreography here. And my favorite scene was, like, two scenes in particular, was when Mechagodzilla was grabbing Godzilla and smashing him consecutively across 3 different buildings before eventually, hitting the building that, like, the camera was stationed in.
I really like this Mechagodzilla's arsenal because every Mechagodzilla has like their own like unique arsenal of weaponry. This one had those fucking jets on the back so that he could hop around quickly. He had the big like the grapple hands with like the anti-grav like punch feature, and he had like probably the strongest mouth beam that any Mechagodzilla has ever had.
Oh yeah, that one was really cool. I'm still not a fan of the overall aesthetic look of Mechagodzilla. I like how he functions, I like how he moves. I just don't like that he looks like a bunch of square pipes. Because just like aesthetically, he looks very boring. But I can tell that he was built for like pure raw power.
Yeah, the design is definitely function over fashion.
Right, yeah. And I feel like this is just like,
how you would build something like that in real life. You wouldn't
guess,
say, we need to make it look cool. You would be like, okay, we need it to be able to move like this and do this and do that.
Yeah, I feel like that's like an indication of like Hollywood's take on giant robots. Where like Del Toro, he definitely wanted his Jaegers to look more fantastical and lavish and over the top. Whereas like the Legendary people, they're like, let's make a robot look boring and realistic and boring.
Yeah, and Del Toro's Jaegers, they sort of ran the gamut from like the older ones like Cherno Alpha, which felt very like old school, like super robot, like big clunky bodies. Yeah. And then you get to, by the time you get to Striker Eureka, I mean, that's a fucking Gundam.
Yes, totally. What was it? Oh, the other moment I forgot to mention, that moment where Godzilla and Kong each grab an arm of Mechagodzilla and just shove him into a building.
Yes. Oh, I was so happy, by the way. We haven't talked about the spoilers. I was so happy that Godzilla won this fight because I've been Team Godzilla day one. I always thought it made no fucking sense. It made no fucking sense that he lost in the original.
Well, you see, Dylan, he monkey.
Listen, Andres, after a year of those annoying ass because monkey memes, I was just sitting in the theater grinning from ear to ear when Godzilla was curb stomping Kong because I was like, get wrecked, internet. Fucking...
really? Because I thought everyone was on Team Godzilla. People were just making people were just making stupid monkey jokes because that was the meme. He's like, why Godzilla can win, blah 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 blah.
No,
why Kong can win? He monkey.
I know a lot of people who were like straight up like, Kong's gonna whoop his ass. Fucking mostly American fucking people who like only really
I thought they were gonna
familiar with Godzilla. Because you gotta remember, Kong is more popular in the States because he's our character.
You see, Kong, he's a thinking animal.
Kong is a thinking animal. But Godzilla ain't no fucking, Godzilla in this continuity, he ain't no dummy. He's
I mean, he dummy thick.
He dummy thick for sure. But he's shown an ability to strategize that the Godzilla from KKVG, who is essentially just a large crocodile, did not.
Yeah. What were you going to say, David?
I love the Godzilla one, but am I the only one that kind of didn't like the way he won?
Just because just roaring in his face and then kind of leaving him.
No, because Godzilla was snapping his jaws and clawing him, and that's what did Kong in. I thought he was going to get a few more punches and socks and jabs here and there, but it wasn't mainly clawing.
I think the part that beat Kong was when he stomped on his chest multiple times.
Digging his toes in there.
Which is why they had to use a fucking giant-ass defibrillator on Kong. I like at the end of the movie, too. They didn't, because, there's that tense moment where you think they're going to start fighting again, and then Kong drops the axe. And Godzilla gives him this look like, all right, we cool for now, but I better never catch you on my block again. And then he walks back into the ocean.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
He was going to say, you have my respect, Kong. I hope they remember you.
Exactly. That's why I don't think he straight up murked Kong in the other fight like he has every other person he's ever fought in this continuity. Because I think it was like a mutual respect thing. Either that or he knew that Mechagodzilla was about to pop out the mountain and he was like, I'm going to have to go deal with that.
Yeah. Because the next time you see Godzilla again, he's looking straight up at Apex headquarters.
Yeah, that was the weirdest thing for me. Like, I like your explanation, Dylan. I just wish that.
Which one? Which explanation do you like? Maybe a little bit of both.
The explanation as to why Godzilla never finishes off Kong in either case. Whereas before, when Godzilla decides to go after an opponent like Ghidorah or the Mutos, he makes sure he double taps. He makes sure they're fucking dead as shit. But he never does that in both cases where he defeated Kong. So
I thought it was really cool that Mechagodzilla tried to kill Godzilla the same way that Godzilla killed the female.
That was awesome. Yes, that was.
And I'm sitting in the theater like, no. At first, I thought it was gonna like break his jaw like King Kong style, which Kong tried to do that at one point in the fight too, which was really cool. Because he had those big ass grapple hands and he like pried his jaw open.
And Godzilla had his tiny head.
And I was like, is he about to fucking do what original Mechagodzilla did to Anguirus back in the day? But then he started charging up that red breath, and I was like, oh, no. And then King Kong out of nowhere with Stormbreaker.
Right. You know what? I bet you because Godzilla was just kicking Kong's ass the whole time, that the filmmakers felt the need to give Kong the win by having him perform the killing blow on Mechagodzilla.
Yeah. Even then, he couldn't have done it without Godzilla's assistance. See, that's the thing. No wonder the trailers went out of their way to make it look like King Kong was owning Godzilla in the fights, because in the actual movie, King Kong, he ain't shit. Like, King Kong ain't got shit on me, because he fucking can never fight Godzilla without assistance. He nearly gets drowned in the first fight, and they have to use depth charges to get Godzilla off of him. And then fucking the only reason he wins the second round, well, I would call that more of a tie, really, because they both got knocked on their ass, is because he had the magic axe.
I wouldn't even finish the round right there, honestly, because that was barely a round at all. It's like Godzilla immediately got up and resumed the fight. I wouldn't call that.
The only reason he was able even to compete in that Hong Kong fight is because he had the magic axe. And then once the magic axe had used up all its power, Godzilla just fucking spanked his ass.
The same could be said with the original King Kong versus Godzilla, because he needed that lightning in order to, get back into the fight.
Yeah. I think because Kong...
Which at least the axe makes a little bit more sense than random lightning powers just out of the sky. Like God just said, hey, King Kong, here's a little help.
God is a monkey.
Fucking Jesus was just like, he's looking kind of rough. Let me help him out.
Zeus was like, don't worry, I got you, fam.
And then along came Zeus.
What was it? Fuck, I forgot what I was. Oh yeah, now I remember. I think the reason why they did so much of that is because I think the filmmakers believe that audiences always feel the need to root for the underdog, and they definitely built up Kong as a bit of an underdog in this case. The fact that the humans want to protect him from Godzilla, like Godzilla, he's free to go anywhere, but for Kong, it's like, nah, Kong, you got to stay in your little dome here. Mama's gonna protect you. Ain't no Godzilla's gonna hurt my boy.
You watch how badly Godzilla beats Kong in this movie, and then you remember that apparently their species had like a war back in the day, and it's like no wonder Kong's ancient civilization got destroyed and his family got stranded on Skull Island. Like they probably retreated there.
Man, it really does make you wonder what was supposed to originally happen at the end of Godzilla King of the Monsters, where all the monsters were going to Skull Island at that point.
It's going to be an interesting thing in that novelization that I keep saying I want to read, because based on what I know about the novelization from King of the Monsters, like what he set up for Skull Island in that novelization does not jive with what happened in this movie, and so he's going to have to explain that somehow.
Yeah, and like imagine this guy gets the plot. The guy goes like, "Oh man, I barely managed to fix up King of the Monsters plot. What have I got to work with this time?" He sees the script for Godzilla vs. Kong. He's like, "Fuck me."
Skull Island is now destroyed. What?
No. The majority of the script is just monkey punch lizard. Next page, lizard punch monkey. Most of the script is just a fucking fight scene.
Yes.
He's like, where's the rest of the script? He's like, that is the script.
Like that famous footage of George Lucas after he got done writing Phantom Menace, and he comes out of the room and he's like, I did a lot of cheating. There's a lot of they fight.
I remember that from the DVD special features.
Just pages and pages of they fight.
I may have gone a bit too far in a few places. CG is the key to all of this.
Here's a question.
Yeah.
Andres, this is mostly a question for you, given your distaste for this movie. would you be interested? Would you like to see them make more Monsterverse movies? Because as far as we've known for the longest time, this was going to be the last one. However, it's making money. It's making that pandy money, you know. So like maybe they do some more.
That hashtag is getting some attention too.
Maybe they try to. Maybe they try to. Maybe they try to. You know. Maybe they try to renegotiate that Godzilla license with Toho. Maybe they just make movies about Kong exploring the center of the earth from now on. I don't know. But would you like to see more Monsterverse in any shape or form?
I mean, I'm not excited, but I'm definitely curious about the Skull Island prequel series developed by the same animation studio behind Castlevania, Seis Manos, and Blood of Zeus. Yeah, I'm definitely very interested in what they have to offer.
That's about to pop off.
But in terms of more movies, I'm going to say no, only because I feel like I've got my fill of this version of Godzilla. It seems to me that when it comes to the Monsterverse, they don't have much to offer beyond just amazing fight scenes. And don't get me wrong, the fights are entertaining, but I think I've had my fill of that type of Transformers level of entertainment. And I'm ready to move on to other things. And that's why, like, having just finished the second episode of Godzilla Singular Point, I'm definitely way more invested in what that series has to offer than what the Monsterverse has to offer. So it's like, I'm going to say no, but that's only because I feel like I got what I wanted out of the Monsterverse, personally. Yeah.
See, Andres is like, you can't just hang a movie on fight scenes. And me and Dave, who are both Kung Fu movie fans, are like, what do you mean? What do you mean you can't hang a movie on fight scenes?
Have you ever seen The Raid?
Here's the thing.
Way of the Dragon? The 5 Deadly Venoms, motherfucker.
I'm saying you can do it. You can have a movie on nothing but action. I mean, again, Pacific Rim is one of my favorite movies of all time.
It is?
Yes. I feel it's to this day, it is still my favorite modern day kaiju movie ever.
You and Kanye have so much in common.
So it's like,
loves Pacific Rim. I didn't even know that.
Neither did I. I feel like you can. There's a certain way of making a movie that's heavily reliant that whose plot relies on external conflict to drive the story forward. You can definitely do that, but I feel there's a certain way to go about it. And the execution that they provided here, it was good, but it's just one of those experiences where it's not gonna stick with me after the fact, where it's like, I feel like when I come out of this movie, I come out of the movie feeling empty, like I gained nothing from the movie. I enjoyed it in the moment, but afterwards my brain retains nothing from that experience.
Okay, see, I had a feeling that would be your answer to your question. Here's why I disagree.
Okay.
I really like...
He just set you up so he can disagree.
This is our own AVD right here.
I was like, I'm gonna let you go off. All right, now here's why I disagree. Maybe it's a good thing. Bill didn't show up. You would have been like just 3-1.
Just you, Bill, and David just grabbed me by the arms and shoved me across a building.
Put you in a locker. No, you fucking nerd. No,
chuck me across the border and stay there.
Here's the thing. I really like the fact that, because if you want really interesting experimental Godzilla properties that are like pushing the boundaries and trying new things, and sometimes they hit, sometimes they miss, that's what Japan's doing right now. This is the era of experimental Godzilla in Japan.
Yeah.
And so I like the fact that at the same time all that's going on, we also have an American version that's just giving you some, fun, dumb action movies.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
I never saw it that way.
This is my Fast and the Furious, Andres. All right.
Sure.
I watched that fucking F9 trailer, and when the car fucking swung on a rope, I was like, "That's the dumbest shit I've ever seen." You give me a big monkey punching a giant lizard, and I'm like, "Yeah."
Sure. Again, there's nothing wrong with that.
And so for me, it's like, Yes, I want to have my cake and eat it too. Japan can keep doing the weenie interesting shit, and America and America can just deliver on the big action spectacle blockbuster side of the kaiju genre, and we can get both flavors that we love. And here's the other thing.
Sure.
No kaiju movie is ever going to look. If the Monsterverse stops, nothing Japan makes is ever going to look this good again, and that goes for the entire Monsterverse from 2014 to now. They have consistently blown me away with how good the CGI is for these monsters, because it could go so wrong so quick. We've seen that back in 1998.
Yes.
Side note: did you know that you could see Godzilla's butthole in 1998? I had never noticed that until Double Toasted reviewed it recently, and they pointed out the butthole in this shot where Godzilla goes over the camera. I mean, technically, I guess it's a cloaca because he's an iguana, but whatever.
They gave us the butthole cut if we didn't even knew it.
Yeah, they released the butthole cut. So my response would be, yeah, let's have both. Fucking restore the Monsterverse, and if they don't, then we'll review Bomb Suicide Squad. What do you have to say, Dave?
I had a thought on that. Like, okay, Legendary can continue the Monsterverse, but without Godzilla, because Legendary's rights to Godzilla expired last year. So who's to say that maybe another Hollywood studio might, throw a lot of money at Toho to use the rights for Godzilla, and then you have the Monsterverse and a second American Godzilla series from a competing studio.
That's possible. I mean, Legendary would have to renegotiate with Toho, and and that would be the only thing that would be like iffy, because on the one hand, like, yeah, if it's making money, of course, let them keep doing it. But on the other hand, Toho makes some really questionable decisions sometimes.
Yeah,
it's almost like they don't like.
It's a lot of their business decisions tend to be based on spite.
It's like they don't even like money.
Oh, they like money. They just
they like it when they are the ones making money. It's like, I don't accept any idea unless I came up with it.
If Toho really was like, if Toho it was like an American corporation, they would have bought Gamera ages ago and given us the Godzilla versus Gamera that we've all been, some of us have been begging for.
Wait, so since when was Adam the president of Toho?
I like how the room just got real quiet right there.
Wait, does he listen to this?
Probably not.
No.
Oh, so then we're good.
Whatever. Yeah.
No, if Adam was the head of Toho, he would have canceled the Godzilla license so that he could make his own Godzilla versus Kong.
It's essentially making the Godzilla saga that never came to be.
Anyway,
just triggered some haunting memories for him.
Hellfire. If there's anybody listening to this podcast who still follows him, they're like, damn, they're throwing a lot of shade. Listen, it's been 5 years. We don't give a shit anymore.
If the Monsterverse does continue, I definitely would have no qualms about that. And if fans are excited, that's really amazing to hear. And I don't want to take any of that excitement away from them.
More of your Mexican lies, Andre. I know you Mexicans.
The fuck is that supposed to mean?
I work with nothing but Mexicans and some Guatemalans and some Argentinians, but most Mexicans and Filipinos.
You just hate fun, don't you?
I enjoy fun. I enjoy it. I enjoyed this type of fun.
I know you do, Andres. I've seen your porn.
I'm like, Godzilla versus Kong. It's so campy and corny.
Cheesy.
That's actually one of the names of the porn videos he bookmarked.
Oh boy.
So, ooh-wee.
You can't mention porn and Godzilla in the same conversation, Dave. Half of the fandom really hates that. Half of the fandom is way too into the idea of Godzilla fucking, and the other half of the fandom is like as against it as you could possibly be against anything. And I'm in the middle, just like, hey man, Godzilla wants to get his dick sucked. Let him get his dick sucked, man. Fuck. How many times has he saved the Earth? He can't get a dick sucked.
What I'm trying to say is, if there is more to come, I'll definitely be very curious and I'm more than willing to continue following this franchise and see where it continues to go. After all, I am a Godzilla fan at heart, and so I'm definitely curious in whatever direction the character ends up going in. And I did overall, despite my complaints, my major problems with the movie, I did enjoy it overall. I had a good time, and I'm sure I'll have an amazing time when I watch it in the theater. And that's all I can say. It's fun, it's enjoyable, it's just big dumb fun, and that's really all I can say about it, really. And like you said, you get it in May in Japan, don't you? Did I get what?
You get the movie in theaters in Japan on May, don't you?
In May, yes, I did. Yeah. So I'm gonna have to wait a while before I can experience it.
It's so fucking weird that this movie came out a week early in international markets, unless you're in Japan.
Right. Here's the thing.
The place that Godzilla is from?
Here's the thing. Japan is always the last to get these big budget Hollywood blockbusters, only because most Japanese audiences don't go to the theaters in general. And if they do want to watch a movie that's popular everywhere else. They base their movie watching experiences on word of mouth. So if a movie gets a lot of hype overseas, then the Japanese marketing team ends up using that to their advantage in order to get people to want to see the movie.
Okay, so this movie's gonna, because it's already got a positive word of mouth.
Yeah, that's definitely true. It's definitely got more buzz going on than any other movie going on right now, and it's like the only other big budget Hollywood movie that's gonna get released. I mean, I don't even know if Wonder Woman 84 has gotten a Japanese release. I'm probably wrong, but I'll check right now.
Yeah, check. We're all wondering about Wonder Woman 84. Are we gonna get the
The less said about Wonder Woman 84, the better.
Are we gonna get a localized version called Wonder Woman 1985 though?
So apparently, Wonder Woman 84 was released surprisingly around the same time, December 18th. Huh.
Yeah. Did it have a theatrical run at all, or did they just put it right on HBO Max? I don't even know if any theaters were open yet.
Yeah, there was a theatrical run, but there was also a same-day HBO Max release.
See, this movie benefited a lot from the pandemic, honestly, because it's the first big blockbuster that's come out like this in a time where there's like a decent number of theaters open.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, the urge for people like me who haven't been to the theater in a year to like just go and sit in a movie theater and enjoy a movie again like a human
right.
was so strong and so palpable. Like a year ago, I would have been like, I'm not going to the theater right now. There's a plague on. Now, after a year of that, I'm just like, fuck COVID. I'm going.
And to have a movie as big and dumb and fun as this movie, I do agree that this is definitely the kind of movie that a lot of people needed at this very moment. Just a nice little schlocky escapist creature feature.
It's kind of funny because
that for a lot of people there is no option but to watch it on their couch because a large chunk of places are still like much more locked down. Like I don't know if California has ever relaxed, but I know that for a while it was like fucking just insane the level of lockdown that was going on in California. So I don't know if they've even opened.
Yeah, they've opened
anything.
Right.
Funny thing, I remember I was the one very, very critical of Warner's the same day release. Yet I guess they proved me wrong. I guess this. Well, it worked for Godzilla vs. Kong. It didn't work for Wonder Woman 84.
No, or wasn't there another one? I get
Tom and Jerry.
Tom and Jerry, right? Oh god.
Surprisingly, Tom and Jerry in general is very big in Japan. Japan has never heard of the Looney Tunes, but they love the shit out of Tom and Jerry.
What?
Yeah.
Good taste. Tom and Jerry is the shit. What do you want?
Well, it works. It works across language barriers because most of the characters don't even talk.
Do they know about Scooby-Doo in Japan?
No, they and when it comes to Hanna-Barbera, they haven't heard of any of that shit.
Uncultured swine. Okay.
so no Hanna-Barbera Godzilla?
No, they've never heard of Hanna-Barbera Godzilla. They don't know about any incarnation about American Godzilla. They don't even know about this version of American Godzilla.
But they liked the 2014 one when it came out. We watched that documentary where they were like, "Oh yes, it was a very good."
Are you talking about like the one Kyle Yant made that we saw back in G Fest, where it's like, here's my vacation, here's my vacation in Japan.
Yeah, that documentary was basically like when you go to a friend's house and they're like, "Let me show you my slides," and you're like, "Oh God." And he interviewed a bunch of Japanese people about the 2014 one in that movie.
But that's the thing, he was talking to Godzilla fans, which there are barely any of in Japan to begin with.
Yeah,
so of course they know about the American version.
Are there more Godzilla fans here than there are over there?
Fuck yeah, man. Definitely.
Fucking wild. That's wild because he's their longest running film character. He's their James Bond.
But here's the thing: he's old as fuck, and Japan doesn't care about that old. Why do you gotta talk about that? Bring up that old shit. It's all about the latest and greatest right now, or whatever stays in the pub in whatever stays relevant in the public eye, despite its age, will remain popular. But Godzilla hasn't been in the public spotlight. The only time I can really think of it was Shin Godzilla, and I honestly believe that was mainly a fluke because it was a movie that focused so much on something that was very personal and relevant to the people at that time.
See, they should have tried harder back in the 60s or the 70s to make Minya cute, and then the Japanese would have fallen in love with him. But instead, they made him a fucking abortion. And
well, that's what Gojiban is there for. And if you don't know what Gojiban is, oh boy.
That's what you got to do, Andres, to convert more Japanese people. Just go around and show them pictures of Godzilla Jr. from Space Godzilla.
In my opinion, that's going to scare people if instead.
And then they'll get the big wide anime eyes and the little cat mouths, and they'll go like, "Oh, kawaii," and then they'll fucking love it.
Dylan, I don't think I ever told you this, but I told Andres, and even this surprised him. But when I went to that Showa Godzilla marathon event in Hollywood, that shit was packed.
Really
nice.
Well, I mean, I was surprised when I went to see Shin Godzilla how many local Godzilla fans in my area showed up to the theater.
Yeah, me too.
It's like we're spread out, but then you release a new movie and we all congregate at the same watering hole.
If you screen it, they will come.
There were kids there dressed in those awful 2014 Halloween costumes, like the inflatable ones.
No.
Well.
It was like a mini G-Fest.
Oh, that is the same case that happened when Sean and I, my cousin Sean and I, ended up going to the Biollante screening way back in 2014, 15, where it was quite a big turnout of people who went to the private screening of Godzilla vs. Biollante, and then afterwards was a live Q&A with Koichi Kawakita.
I mean, that's how cult movies make money. It's like when you have something that's so niche, you screen it and you have a built-in audience, whoever's into that niche. That's why the midnight screenings of a Rocky Horror Picture Show became such a thing back in the day, and now there's a whole culture of midnight screenings and The Room.
Those MST3K live screenings. Oh no, Riff Tracks live screenings.
Yeah, they still do those.
Yeah, I saw Mothra at one of those screenings.
I saw Godzilla 98 and The Room.
My God.
Oh, you poor bastard.
On the same day. You must have been so exhausted.
You probably were begging for immigration to come.
Deport me now.
Ayúdame, la migra.
I'm fed up with this country.
I'm fed up with this country.
Let the Mexicans try their own Godzilla movies.
They call this coffee.
They call these tacos.
Not even the new Mexicans.
Not even the new Mexicans. Okay, I think we pretty much said all we can say about Godzilla GVK, unless there's anything else you guys want to mention.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it yet, go see it. Form your own opinion. What the fuck are you doing here? We just spoiled the whole fucking... Get out of here.
Get out of here.
Ferris Bueller. The movie's over. Go.
The podcast is over. It's done with. Go home.
That's it. That's our story.
That's it. Kong's dead. Bye.
Bye. Also, they were very clever when they were talking about this movie in the lead up when they were like, there is a definite winner. They never came out and said, he gonna die. They just said there's a definite winner.
Right. Or do you think a lot of people are saying that was a lie, that there was no definite winner? But
no, there's a definite winner.
Yeah.
Okay,
when you have to fucking defibrillate Kong, then like he lost the fucking fight. And then he had to like snap his arm back into place and shit. Like he was fucked up. He lost that fucking fight. All right. They never said. A lot of people went into this movie expecting one or the other of them to die, but they never said that one of them was going to die. All they said was that there was going to be a definite winner. I was afraid that Godzilla was going to die, and thankfully for me, that did not happen.
Wasn't there like an early version of the script that had Godzilla kind of, sort of, but not really dying?
That same version that I told you about, apparently Kong was fighting a different version of Godzilla, the 2014 version, and the 2019 version was a separate Godzilla.
What the fuck?
If you believe that. Huh. And apparently Kong kills the 2014 version by kicking him into a volcano. That's what really got me skeptical about those quote unquote leaks. But the fact that
that sounds fake.
Okay, yeah. The leak that I heard was Godzilla and Kong were fighting in I was going to say Middle Earth, Hollow Earth, and
they were fighting in Middle Earth.
Although it kind of looked like Middle Earth.
And then Smaug came out, and then the armies of Sauron.
And then the Nazgûl showed up.
Yes. And then the Eagles started dive bombing Kong.
And then the fans complained, why weren't the Eagles there from the beginning? So apparently, like, Godzilla ends up being buried within Hollow Earth. And that's sort of like their way of writing Godzilla out of the Monsterverse if they were unable to continue using the character.
Also, I like how even though Kong lost the fight, he still kind of earns the like king title because now he's like the king of the Hollow Earth, and like Godzilla will stay up top. Godzilla will stay on the surface and like be the protector of the Earth, I guess, the guardian of the universe, and Kong will chill out in the Hollow Earth and do shit down there.
Yeah. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention: I think the Warbat scene might have been a callback to the Sea Serpent fight or the Plesiosaurus fight from Kong 33, which I thought was very nice.
No, it's clearly the giant red boa constrictor from Kong 76.
Maybe a combination of the two. I don't know, but I thought it was a really nice touch.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think we can all be happy that now that the movie's out, maybe the Save Mothra jokes will end.
Finally, God.
Maybe I'll never see another fucking Save Mothra meme ever again.
I swear, Godzilla fans, they make a meme and then they resort to bashing that single joke into the ground until it's no longer funny.
I remember we made that joke when we reviewed one of the other movies.
Yeah.
And it keeps me up at night because I keep thinking, what if I'm the start of all this? What if I made that? What if I was the first person to make that joke? And then somebody else made it, and then it became viral later on. What if it's my fault?
You look into the mirror. I'm retarded. And then again, you look into the mirror reflection, and it's one of us.
It's like when we talked about Robin Williams on one of the podcasts, and then he died.
Oh no!
Like the next day, and we were all like, oh,
like Dylan, Bill, what did you do? Didn't that happen again to some other poor schmuck?
Yeah, there was another celebrity who died right after we talked about them. I don't remember. I don't remember who it was.
Well, anyways, guys, any other last things to say about this movie before we wrap it up?
I'll probably remember later when we stop recording.
All right. So yes, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in to another installment of the Sons of Serizawa podcast. When we will come back, who is to say, but given the immense positive response to our trailer discussion, I do want to give a big thanks to every single one of you who continues to support us who continue to support us even after our long hiatus. Not sure when we'll be able to gather together and do this thing, or if whether or not we'll be able to do this on a regular basis or not. That's who is to say at the moment. But until then, thank you very much for your patience, and thank you for the love and support you have provided us. We hope you've enjoyed this long 2-hour discussion about this movie that we've all had a lot of fun, despite all our thoughts are on the movie. Regardless of our thoughts on the movie, I myself had a blast talking to these guys again about said movie.
Thanks for listening to me give Andres a hard time for an hour and a half because he didn't like this dumb movie.
I liked it, okay? I just didn't like it as much as you guys.
And stay tuned for when we force Dave to watch Space Jam.
Yes!
Oh, God.
Everybody get up. It's time to slam, y'all.
Both movies?
To the Space Jam.
No,
all right.
I'm not watching the sequel. Fuck that. But Dave's never seen Space Jam, and we have to do... My pitch was, because I think this wasn't on recording.
No,
my pitch was that around the time that the second Space Jam comes out, we should do a commentary on the original.
Fuck yeah! Get ready for that, folks. Yes, that's it. Next time you'll see us, we're gonna welcome David to the slam.
It's on HBO Max, so I have access to the movie.
Yeah, we're gonna make him get on and slam, and welcome him to the jam. All right, so until then, next time, everybody, I have been Andres Perez, aka Kaiju Noir.
I'm Gorazard, and I got drunk the other day and met a girl, and long story short, I was too drunk and didn't notice the Adam's apple.
I'm Super DM64. That was a horrifying story, especially because I'm slightly drunk right now.
And until next time, everybody, take care. And ladies and gentlemen, that's exactly the way it's been. For the science is sound.